Okay, so welcome everybody. So today it is lesson 11, and we're working on core clusters and core traumas. So let's just open the field. So if you want to get comfy for just a minute, and let's just call in our spirit teams. Let's call in our alchemical teams. Let's open a field of magic and miracles, of blessings, love, and gratitude. We call in the infinite power, potential, and possibilities of the cosmic field. And we activate the now point of power. And we ask and activate divine and cosmic protection for our class and our work today. And we ask for real world tangible results and a reality upgrade as appropriate for each one of us. So let's imagine that we're standing out in nature in our very, very favorite place on earth. And we're all together standing in a circle. And let's begin by extending our energetic roots out from our feet, watching them go down into the earth, past the rocks and minerals, until they arrive at the core crystal of the earth. And let's just let our roots wrap around the core crystal of the earth, anchoring into that crystalline consciousness and pulling that crystalline earth energy up through your roots, back up to your body, into your heart, and let it spread out through your cells, your bones, your organs, all body systems. Extend out into your consciousness and into all your externals. So all aspects of your multidimensional matrix infused with this grounded crystalline earth energy. And then out of the top of your crown chakra, extend your antennas up, up, up through the sky, through space, until you reach the heart of the cosmos, wrapping around the heart of the cosmos, and pulling those cosmic energies down through this channel, bringing them into your heart, letting those cosmic energies spread throughout your body, throughout your mind, your emotions, your behaviors, your energy body, all levels and dimensions of your multidimensional matrix and your externals, so your home, your work, your money, your relationships, all your inner aspects like your inner child, your inner voice, your inner parents, and so on, and all your inner timelines fully infused with this cosmic light. And then just coming back to our circle out in nature, we're just going to all send each other a beam of heart light, green heart light. And all these beams are crisscrossing each other, forming a sacred geometry of light, which holds the frequency of love. And we're just going to dive into this portal. This is our workspace. Okay, so a few words about the work that we've been doing these last 2 weeks. So we finished the whole matrix release process, and you have the sheet with just the commands so that you can run through it with a client or run through it on yourself. So the process would be that you would explore the theme and get clarity on the theme, and then you would just run through these corrections. You don't need to do, it just depends on what you feel like doing and what your intuition tells you. If you feel like you want to go into detailed work, you can calibrate each one. How much ancestral stuff, how much past life stuff is related to this topic. But you actually don't need to. You can do one calibration at the start, run through all the clearings, and calibrate at the end and see if it's clear. So, and if anything's not clear, just quickly run through them and just see which is not clear. And it's gonna 99% of the time just be there's some interference there. And once you clear that interference, the calibration will go up to 100. That's the matrix release, and that is one to practice a lot. Like I mentioned, when I downloaded it, I did it for 21 nights in a row in the middle of the night. So that was kind of my downloading process. And I used it for 2 years until I realized that you can shortcut it. So what I want to teach you now very quickly is how to shortcut it and when you can shortcut it and when you can't. The first thing to say is before you even attempt to shortcut it, make sure you've done it like 10 or 20 times. Like you need to get it in your bones first. Otherwise, if you just go shortcut it, I don't feel it's really carries the weight that it needs to. You can shortcut it when you understand it. And it doesn't take long to understand. You just need to run it through a few times on yourself because you'll understand when you work on yourself better than on someone else because you know your stuff. So actually, when you work on yourself, it is actually good to do the calibrations because they will make sense to you because you know the blockage. So it's a good way to really learn about the process by working on yourself. So you can work on your money, you can work on your health, you can work on your eyesight, you can work on your rejuvenation, you can work on a relationship, you can work on your house. Like basically this kind of comprehensive protocol is just a good clearing and recoding protocol that addresses a lot. And the more you do it, the more you'll understand the inner dynamics of things. But once you've integrated, you can shortcut it. So I've written in your notes when you can and when you can't. You wouldn't shortcut it on a client. Oh, just letting some people in. Hey, everybody, welcome. We are just talking about doing a shortcutting the matrix release process. So you can shortcut it by just saying teams do the full matrix release process and do the recoding. So that's how you would do it. But when you would do it and when you wouldn't do it with a client. Let's say clients come to you with a whole topic. You wouldn't just go, oh, I'll just shortcut their whole thing. No. With a client, you're going to give them care and attention and calibrations, and you're just going to go gently and slowly and stuff. But if you're working on yourself and let's say there's a dynamic with somebody, just test. Shall I shortcut the full matrix release process? So always test it. And if it says, first of all, test if you're ready to do it. So for everybody who's just arrived, I said, practice the full matrix release process at least like 20 times to get it in your bones before you go shortcutting it. Otherwise, you won't have grounded it. You won't have embodied the practice. But once you've embodied it and you've done enough on yourself and you've done it on other people, or if you don't work with other people, just do it on yourself. That's fine. Once you've grounded it, then you can shortcut it, but you generally shortcut it more on externals. So, okay, I've got a challenging dynamic with this person. I'm just going to test, can I do it? And if it says yes, then go ahead and do the full matrix release. And you can calibrate before and after to see if it got done. So yeah, if something is off with your friend, if something is off with your home, that's it basically, is you do it more on externals. You don't do it on a client so much. Or if you could do it with a client if it's just something small, like if it's just a little side issue, you wouldn't do it on the main issue with a client. But if they sometimes you have your client and you work on the main issue and then they add in a little something else and it's just a little something. So then you can just say, just test, can I shortcut the matrix release? And if it says yes, then just go, teams, please do a full matrix release. And I can usually feel the energies running in my body. And just say, the full matrix release includes the clearing and the recoding. But you can always say, do the clearing and then recode. So you just work with it intuitively. Pete, you can ask a question or no? No, okay. Okay, so if everybody's comfortable with that, if nobody has any questions about that, we'll go on to our first big piece. Yeah? Okay. So core clusters are block consciousness patterns, which is often what we are working on, made up of a combination of beliefs, emotions, behaviors, and other associated energetics. But these ones have a foundational effect on your life and how you're creating your life, how you're creating your reality. So when we have these deep programs, it creates a reality that aligns to those energetics. So they're very influential and impactful on how we experience and create our reality. So we can be born with these patterns in a deficit, meaning in a low calibration, or we could be born with them in a high calibration, but again, trauma comes in and then they get knocked out. So this core cluster that we're working with, and you can adapt these, but this really important one is around safety. The universe is safe. If you are 100% aligned to the universe is safe, then when the paradigm around us starts to change, as it is doing now, we adapt. But if we have a very low calibration, the universe is unsafe, then we may go through a lot of trauma. So we're going to go through a whole bunch of variations on the universe is safe. We're going to look in to see what's going on in your own matrix. We're going to shift it. And then I'll mention a few variations that you could work on if you choose to. So could you test for me, and you're testing your own energy matrix, the universe is safe. So you might put in the parameter where it's like 100 is safe and 0 is not safe. So the universe is safe. 100, nice. 100, great. Masha, 60, Cleona, 60. Sebastian, 30. Angela, 70. The 80. Pete, 70. Okay, so we're all in pretty good shape, but we know that we're living in a relatively safe universe. Okay, now I am safe. Silesia, 100, great. I am safe. Sylvia, 100, great. Debbie, 100. Angela, 30. Scott, 85. Silesia, 55. 60. Cleona, 70. Okay, great. Life is safe. Sarah, what is Sarah saying? Ooh, chat. Okay, we're starting a new calibration. I'll stay on with you after the call to discuss the end of last week, but right now we're just starting something completely new. So just start from new. Forget about what I said before about the matrix release. I'll catch you up on that afterwards. No worries. So now we're just working on a brand new piece, core clusters. Okay, so Pete, 20, okay. What was that one? Was that the second one? Was that I am safe? That was the third one. That was life is safe, right? Okay, next one, my life is safe. Because life is safe and my life is safe are not necessarily. Oh, Sylvia, there you go. Okay.
Dominic, sorry, can you just repeat the other ones? Because I was typing. I'm just got behind because I was typing. Because I
okay, no,
well,
yeah, no,
come through them again. I couldn't do it. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. The first is the universe is safe. So just put the universe, because you know that the tagline is safe. The second one is I am. The third one is life. The fourth one is my life is safe. Okay, Angela 20. Okay. The fifth one is the world is safe. So test the world. And then it's interesting to notice if there's a difference between the universe, life, and the world. If you have different calibrations, which would mean you have a different kind of relationship. So the world is safe. And now society is safe. Zero, Sylvia? Society. Angela, 20, society. Okay. Marcia, 0. Yeah, it's cool. We're going to fix it now. People are safe. That would be like people are safe towards me. You know what I mean? It's not whether they are safe from something. It's they're safe for me. Sylvia, 0. Okay. It's so interesting, right? Sometimes we have our calibrations are really high, and then we get to the nugget of like, oh, there's the pocket of like, oh, it's people that I don't trust, kind of thing. Okay. People are safe. 60, Marsha. 30. Yeah. Okay, next, community is safe. $80, Sylvia, Marsha, 50. $90. Okay. Next one, loving is safe. Loving is safe. 100, nice. 70, 100. Okay, when you've done loving is safe, the next one is being loved is safe. Being loved, receiving love. So it's interesting if they're not the same. 60. Both 40. Pete, 0. Great, we're going to fix that. Sebastian, 75. Okay. Next one, money is safe. Cleo, 0. Great. It's always good when you discover that, right? 40, 100, 60, 70. Scott. Okay. Now my money is safe. Marsha, no. Okay. 15, okay. 60, Silesia. Scott, 70. Cleo, okay. There we go. Pete, 25. Okay, great. The money system is safe. Next one is the money system is safe. Sylvia, 0. Okay. Marcia, 50. Angela, 20. Silesia, 100. Pete's laughing. Yeah, this is interesting. This is core stuff, really. Okay. Okay, Pete, yep. The body is safe. The body. The body, 0. Okay. 100. Angela, 30. Marcia, 60. Sebastian, 50. Okay. Okay, now my body is safe. My body is safe. Debbie, nice one. Marcia, no. Okay. Below 0. There you go. Okay. Lisa, 80. Angela, 95. Great. Scott, 10. Okay. Pete, nice. It's so fascinating how we're just so, like, we're so, some calibrations are really high and we're all sorted in one area, and another area, oop. Okay, next one. Aging is safe. Hundred, Marsha, 40. Debbie, 100. Angela, 15. Pete. Scott, 90. Pete, 100. Sebastian, 50. Okay. Being seen is safe. You don't even need the pendulum, Sylvia. Being seen is safe. Sebastian, 50. Marcia, no. Debbie, 20. Sylvia, below 0. Scott, 0. Okay. Cleona, 6. Okay. 6, not 60, right? You meant 60 or 6? Oh, 0. Okay. Okay. Great. Pete, 20. So that's being seen. Being happy is safe. Sylvia, 100. Being happy. Oh, great. Okay. Scott, 30. Angela, 40. Pete, 100. Yeah. Debbie, 100. Okay. So for most of us, yeah. Being happy. Okay. Being free is safe. Debbie, 100. Great. 100, being free. Not getting an answer. Okay, is there interference? 60, 80, 20, being free, over 100, great. Interference, Sylvia? No. Okay, maybe it depends on something else. We'll do the correction and retest. Over 100, P80, okay. Being abundant is safe. Debbie 100, Marcia 60. Being abundant. Scott 70, 50. Cleo 0. Okay, this is really useful for you, right? It's all coming up in the same area. Pete 100, Sebastian 60. Being successful is safe. Okay, 2050, Sylvia 0, Silesia 100, and 70 as well. Cleo 80, okay. Being healthy is safe. Oh, Cleo, okay. Not getting an answer, interesting. Okay. The future is safe. Okay, some 100s, some 50s, some 80. My future is safe. My future is safe. Okay. My energy is safe. Yeah, the interest, the future and my future. Yeah, exactly. So my energy is safe. No, was that no answer you've got again? Wow, okay, we'll figure that out. My heart is safe. So I've made a super extensive list for you. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'll talk you through in a minute, but let's go through just a few other key ones. So my heart is safe. Debbie 100, Scott 60, Sylvia 100. Silesia, no answer. We got to figure out this no answer thing because that hasn't happened before, really. Okay. Okay, next one, expressing myself is safe. So that was expressing myself, right? Debbie 0. Okay. Trusting myself is safe. Yeah, but it's good. It's not alarming about all the zeros because it's in there and we're going to change it. So it's going to shift some real core stuff. So it's good. It's really good to see what's in there. So we're on trusting myself, right? Trusting myself is safe. Okay, 20, 10. Okay, so this is really useful. Expressing my boundaries is safe. Okay, that's interesting. Expressing my truth is safe. Okay. Okay. So within your list, there were a few more, but so you could go over it at home. We're going to do the calibrate. We're going to do the clearing now and the recoding. I'm going to try to do them for all of them. We'll test quite a few and just see if they've shifted up. You might want to play with it at home a bit more. But because safety is such a foundational frequency, if you feel safe, you are free. It doesn't matter if your circumstances change. You're free to be you because you feel safe. You're free to say no because you feel safe. You're free to not have money right now because you feel safe. You're free to quit your job or to leave a relationship or to change your mind because you feel safe. I mean, safety just gives you a lot of freedom. And when we don't have safety, we then start to compromise a lot because I have to keep on doing this because otherwise I won't be safe. And we also create a reality based on that frequency, that baseline frequency. So this is really, really important. So I'm going to do the correction for everybody. I'm going to set the intention that we clear it for the whole list. We'll check a few of them. And then I'll tell you how you can adapt this. And then we'll just talk about how you can use it with clients, because right now we've done it as a clearing for you guys to do a big clear out for you guys. You wouldn't necessarily use it quite that way for clients. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But just for now, if you just want to tune in, we're going to ask the teams, calling in all of our teams, all of our spirit teams and all of our alchemy teams to please assist us to clear all the core clusters that are in this list, mentioned or unmentioned, calibrated or uncalibrated, clearing all variations, all extensions, all the beliefs, emotions, and behaviors attached, and anything else which supports, generates, expresses, or maintains these core clusters in our reality, removing them from the totality of our multidimensional matrix, from our inner earth aspect all the way to our cosmic aspect, through our externals, clearing our inner aspects and clearing our inner timelines multidimensionally through all layers, levels, dimensions, timeframes, realities, universes, through time and space. And please recode us with knowing, feeling, and being 100% safe with all of these different variations. Please activate an anchor. Thank you. It's done. Okay, so we'll clear the board, clear the field, clear the pendulum. Are we testing correctly? Okay, I'll run you through a few of them and let's just double check and see where we are. So you have your earlier calibration. So the universe is safe. Maybe just do a thumbs up if you get 100. Yeah, thumbs up. If you don't, test if there's any interference. Great, good work, everybody. I am safe. Great. Life is safe. If any of them are not coming up, just make a circle around them just so you remember. If you remember it, we can work on it later. You can test later. Is there interference? You can clear the interference and see if that corrects it. My life is safe. Yeah. Sylvia, 0. Okay. Test if the test around interference. Not interference. Okay. We'll figure this out later because it's, yeah. Okay. The world is safe. Yeah. Society is safe. No. Okay. People are safe. Okay, Sylvia, we need to do a little digging into you in a moment. Let's skip ahead. Let's go to, you can, at home, you can recalibrate them all if you like, but let's go to my money is safe. Yeah. Okay. My body is safe. Let's go to that one. You got to figure something out there, Sylvia. Okay. Did we just do my body? We just did my body, right? Okay. Being seen is safe. My future is safe. My energy is safe. Expressing myself is safe. Trusting myself is safe. Did we do loving myself is safe? Did we calibrate that one? No. Okay. We'll test it right now. Because the intention of the command was that everything on the list be upgraded. Now we know with Sylvia there's something unusual going on, which needs a bit more investigation. But loving myself is safe. Has everybody got that at 100? Sylvia does. Marcia 60. Okay. We did loving. We did loving and being loved, but loving myself. So that was loving someone else and being loved. Thank you, hon. Yeah. Okay. Was 40, now 100. Okay. Expressing my boundaries is safe. Expressing my truth is safe. Okay, Sylvia, we will figure it out. All good, but weird headaches the last 2 days. Anyone? I had headaches the last 2 days too. I had some weird headaches that kept me up, but then when I woke up, I had lots of downloads. So, and then the headache went away. Okay, can you just overall test if the whole list is at 100 for you now? We know it's not for Sylvia, and we know that Marcia, you had one low calibration that didn't quite get there. So is the whole list at 100 for you? Okay, it is. Okay, good. Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. So we've cleared a lot of those places where you weren't feeling safe. This really changes your frequency a lot, as you can imagine. Now, with clients, if you print out this sheet that I've sent you guys, what you could do is just hand put a little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's about 30 of them. Because with a client, okay, let's say you had a client who was really feeling insecure in the world. You might want to run through the whole thing. You might test, do I run through the whole thing? But with a client, it may come up that you just need one. So you could just hone in on it. Or if you get this one, you can just kind of run your finger down and just go, well, is it this, 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 this? It's this one, or you might test how many of these do I need to do? 5. So, and you could put the numbers and identify them by numbers or just by going down and testing quickly. Is it this? Yes, no, 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 yes, like that. So we almost did the whole list, but I felt it was getting a little bit long. But in any case, we've cleared them all except for this anomaly with Sylvia, which we'll look at. But so now now what I'd like you to just test is how much does this change your vibration? How much does this raise your vibration now to have this new frequency around safety, around all sorts of different aspects of safety? 50%? 5% or 50%? Oh, is that a question?
Can I make a comment?
I thought that was a 5. I'm
No,
trying
no,
to.
no, it's a high five. No, could I make a comment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking in the client situation that actually, if you are working, asking, you could get interference from a specific situation, which actually masks the real situation. Like somebody's heart could be really open, but you say like, are you, I don't know, are you, safe with your heart or something? And that could trigger a response which is actually directed to either a specific situation or a specific person, and immediately the person's energy changes. So it would be like a kind of mask. And that could be a kind of interference. So I really like this idea of, going through this like with numbers, something, because sometimes it's like the conscious mind actually kicks into stuff. And I mean, just looking at the list that we've been through, it's so interesting how, are you safe with money? Are you safe with your money? And it's like, and your money is your situation. And that's different to money in general. And
Mhm.
it's so interesting to look at, see where the trauma is. Is it, a money general thing? Like, for example, are you up in arms about world capitalism? Or is it about your bank because they've just hit you with, 200 quid of bank charges? There is actually a huge difference to
Mhm.
where that energetically is hitting the system. And I really like this idea of actually being able to do the testing with a little bit more sort of discretion.
Right.
That's what I mean, that's what I'm feeling. I mean, I do a lot of this kind of testing in all my kind of clients in my own sort of way, but I can see where this could really trigger someone, but actually take you completely off, off piste.
I'm not really understanding that. Trigger them in a negative way?
No, I mean, it's just like it's a distraction, in
You
fact.
when you say this, you mean this blockage.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned something, but actually that triggers something in their mind that takes them down a rabbit hole, and it's actually, you end up not actually testing, the thing. You end up, testing a specific situation. I mean, all these are very sort of general, and it's that sort of difference. I mean, that's what I mean about the kind of confidentiality of it. It just feels a really nice way of kind of getting below some of the noise that we have. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. Also, Sarah says she doesn't have the the thing, so I'm just going to send it to her now. Apologies for that. Sometimes I'm just not very good at admin. So let me just send this to you right now, Sarah. It will come in on your email. So clusters, okay. So does everybody have ideas as to how you guys can use it with clients? I mean, in a simpler way, just through the numbers, just by testing the numbers and stuff. And just give me one more second here, because I'm going to send Sarah the next one. Okay. 2 and
Dominic, I haven't got these sheets either.
God, sorry guys. I mean, you don't really need them for the work that we're doing right now. You'll need them for at home, but you don't need them to follow along just for the testing, but it might feel more comfortable. So I'm really sorry about that. Okay, so let me send this to Sarah, and you can tell I'm not the most grounded person with my admin. Cleo, I'll send you the core clusters after, but you should have in your email box now the next one that we're going to do. I mean, just for the work, I'm holding you through it, so that's okay if you don't have to read it, but apologies. Okay. All right, should we finish up with that one? Does anybody? Okay, no, what I wanted to add before we move on from this
Oh, that
is
would have
that,
helped.
I'm sorry,
Sorry. Oh, oops,
I'm trying to be conscientious and sometimes I fuck up. Okay. Okay, this can be adapted to all of these ones, like expressing myself is easy. Life is easy. Loving is easy. Loving myself is easy. Or joyful. Life is joyful. Loving is joyful. Being loved is joyful. Life is nourishing. Being loved is nourishing. Money is nourishing. Life is fun. So you can adapt this to whatever. I mean, a key thing about being an alchemist is not so much being like, I just refer to the sheets and I just go by the sheets. You really, when you're working with people's consciousness, you really have to feel into things. So sometimes you'll be guided to do these ones. Okay, I've got to do the core clusters. And you could test at the start, well, am I doing safety? Safety is the more foundational, fundamental one. But for another client, it might be somebody who's getting no joy out of life. And you really need to kind of unpick that, and then upgrade that. So joyful might be the one that you're doing, or nourishing, or fun, or relaxing, or whatever. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm so sorry about you guys not getting the sheets. That's so bad. But anyway, I'm recovering myself, and now I just want to check in before we move on to the next one. Are you guys good with this? Okay. Okay, so now we're going to a very deep one. So I will read to you my explanation, and I think you'll see it's quite an important one. This is about core traumas. So we're going to work multidimensionally to clear core traumas, which are heavy, toxic experiences from this and other lifetimes, dimensions, parallels, or from ancestral inheritance, which create deep disconnects and all the ensuing damage and distortion in your energetics. So these core traumas all involve damage, violation, or the annihilation of the physical body imposed by a perpetrator or circumstances like war, or by your own hand. So these are physical things like sexual abuse, rape, ritual abuse, satanic abuse, being murdered. Those are energies, heavy, heavy, heavy traumas. And these experiences are so deeply traumatic as victim and as perpetrator, because we're going to clear both, that they create deep distortions in our energetic functionality. So they rarely get fully healed in just the one lifetime where things took place. So the wounding creates a lot of misalignment, a lot of disconnections, a lot of energetic scar tissue, a lot of numbness, and a lot of inability to create the life you want. This will affect money, relationships, relationship to self and life. It will affect our home life, basically every area. And when we clean this up, it removes the frequency of violence, the energy of violence and abuse, either as victim or as perpetrator. So it clears a lot of low frequency energy, and then we can then recode and heal and repair all the energetics which got distorted. So this can be a little heavy going. You might feel tired. So the energies are releasing as we expose them. So it's a very powerful clearing. So how this came up for me is that I had a friend, in fact, I've had two friends who've been ritually abused by satanic cults. You know, you make a friendship and then suddenly at some point they reveal this to you. And what started happening when I was in contact with this friend is my chest started hurting really bad. I started feeling like something energetically is really, really off. And I thought it was interference. And it took me a while. So I was like, is it interference? No, it's not. And then I thought, oh my God, you know, at some point the person revealed to me what they had gone through. And I was familiar with it because I knew somebody else had gone through a very dark situation. And then I thought, oh my God, okay, so I'm resonating with this. This is what's going on. But is it from this life? I didn't think so. And then I made up the chart. So basically, we're going to make a graph with 5 rows. So the first row, you're going to leave blank because that's where you're going to put your rape, your abuse, your violence, your blah, blah, blah. So 5 rows, 5 vertical rows. So, and then you're going to draw a horizontal line. So on your top row, the top left corner, you're going to leave blank because that's going to be your row of all these abuses and stuff. The second one is going to be this life. So the header at the top of the second column is this life. The header of the third column is parallels. So parallels are just a variation of you in this life, but it could be that you were raped or murdered in a parallel version of this life. So we've got this life parallel, the whole page. The first 3, well, we're making a grid. The first column, the header is left empty. The second column, the header is this life. So it's what happened to you in this life. The third column is parallel realities, or you could just put parallels. And we know that those are just variations of the you that you are now. The 1, 2, 3, the fourth column is past life. And the 5th column is ancestral. So we've got blank, this life, parallel, past life, and ancestral. Okay. Now, in each box, when you get to it, you're going to draw a diagonal. And so each box will give you 2 calibrations. One is as victim and one is as perpetrator. So The diagonal looks like this. So each little box that you have will have a diagonal. And the first calibration will be as victim, and the second will be as perpetrator.
Dominique?
Yes.
Sorry, I got a bit lost here with the. Is it a grid like this?
Your screen doesn't really show up well, but let me show you.
Sorry, I
So
just got it.
let me show you. Let me just draw it for you. We've got this life, parallels, past life, and ancestral, like that. And then when we get into the boxes, it goes like this.
Oh, the first one. This life parallels. Sorry, past life. Okay. Yeah.
And this first column, we're gonna put down what we're testing.
Okay, this life, past life, parallel. Yeah, one. Okay, yeah.
So what we're testing is, do you hold the energy of? So you could have been murdered in a past life and you've cleared that energy. But if there's any of that remaining residue, that remaining energy in your system, we want to clear it now. So what we're testing is, do you hold the energy of? And we're going to go through the different things. So, so in this life, you may hold the energy of being murdered. It doesn't mean that you were murdered in this life, but you may still hold that energy. Or in this life, you may hold the energy of doing a murder. Probably none of us have done a murder in this life, but we may have done it in a past life, but we're still holding that energy. And it's good to clear the pendulum after each round. So each round we'll be testing 8 things. So we're going to go through this whole thing. It's quite a bit. Okay. So let's start. Number 1, rape. So you're going to get a number. You're going to get a calibration. So in this life, as a victim, do you hold the energy of rape? Just get a number and put it in your box. Don't type it in the thing, because we'll just go quickly through it and then we'll discuss. So do you hold the energy of rape? Whatever your number is, put it in that first quarter of that first half of the box. And then in this life, as perpetrator, do you hold the energy of rape?
Dominique, I'm feeling a bit confused again, because usually we're trying to get the calibrations up to 100%, aren't we? But it's going to be different with this, isn't it? So we
No.
just
How much are you holding the energy of rape in
okay.
this life? How much rape energy is still in your system in this life?
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for asking. Yeah, please always ask me if you guys are confused. Just keep on holding this there. So if you've done this life as victim and perpetrator, now let's move on to parallels. So how much energy of rape are you holding in a parallel version of you? So this is just another version of you. So how much rape energy are you holding as victim? You guys don't have to be mega precise about your testing. You don't have to come to 67, you know. You could put it down as 70. The calibrations are just to give you a sense of how much intensity. Now we're at parallels. We're in the next one, parallels.
I've
So
got it.
parallels, okay. Parallels, so do victim and then do perpetrator. It's always Always just do victim, perpetrator. And when you've done that, go on to past life. So how much energy of rape is coming from a past life as victim, as a victim of rape, or as a perpetrator of rape? And finally, ancestral, how much energy of ancestral rape? So if your ancestors were raped and they didn't clear that energy and that came down to you and you took on that energy, how much of victim of rape first and how much perpetrator of rape coming from your ancestors? Okay, if we can move on, stop me if I'm going too fast, but there's quite a few to get through. So let's go to sexual abuse. Coming back to this life, and in each box, you do your little diagonal line so that you can get the calibration for victim and perpetrator. And we're going sexual abuse, your inclination is given the number. You can do 0 or 1. So yeah, Pete is saying that he doesn't want to get calibrations. He just wants to get a yes or no. Is that what you want to do? Just get yes or no? We can do that as well if you'd rather just go yes or no. That's a good suggestion. So sexual abuse, this life, are you still holding the energy as a victim? Yes or no? As a perpetrator? Yes or no? Moving on to the parallels. As a victim, yes or no? As perpetrator, yes or no? Past life, as a victim, yes or no? As perpetrator, yes or no? And how much ancestral sexual abuse energy is being held in your system? As victim? Yes, yes or no? And as perpetrator? Yes or no? And the next one is blood sacrifice. So if you were like a Mayan daughter of the Mayan king, you might have been sacrificed. So in this life, are you still holding that energy as a victim or as a perpetrator? Parallels as a victim, yes or no? Past life, yes or no? As a victim? And then as a perpetrator, yes or no? And ancestral, maybe some of your ancestors were sacrificed. So as victim, yes or no? And perpetrator, yes or no? We'll skip the next one, which is sacrifice. We'll do it in the clearing, but let's just go on to murdering or being murdered or murdering. So murder is the next one. So so in this life, as victim, murder. Or as perpetrator, murderer.
Dominique, what was
last
that? Yeah,
We're now doing murder. The one before that was blood sacrifice.
yeah, okay, got it, yeah, thank you.
Cool. So in this life, we've got victim or perpetrator, murdered or murderer. Then we go to parallel. In a parallel reality, were you murdered or did you murder? So victim, yes or no? Perpetrator, yes or no? In a past life, victim, yes or no? Or perpetrator, yes or no, in a past life? And finally, ancestors, murder, or either one, as a victim, ancestral, yes or no? And perpetrator of murder, yes or no? Yes. For me, if I'm doing the calibrations, the numbers, they come as fast as the yes or no. So I put the numbers in just for my own, for me to just see the levels and stuff. But you guys choose. And again, we don't need the numbers really. Okay. So then let's go on to violence. Violence in this life. So is the energy of violence in your field? How many rows are there? There's quite a few. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's say 10 more. Okay. Well, Angela, you could do murder at the end, maybe.
Okay.
So shall we go on to violence? I'll go a little slower. So violence, this life, as a victim or as perpetrator. Your parallels as victim. Was one of your parallels, did they experience or are they holding the energy of violence as victim or as perpetrator? Past life, is there the energy of violence as victim? as perpetrator? Last one in, okay. Last one on this line is violence coming from the ancestors. So you're testing what level of violence, or just is there some energy of violence that you took on from your ancestors as a victim of violence or as a perpetrator of violence? Strong reactions. Okay. Okay, so that just probably tells you there's a lot. Are you getting high calibrations here?
Super high, not just high.
Okay, okay, so this is a great one for you. This is a really good, important one for you.
Yeah, I felt it the moment you started talking. I felt the reactions.
I mean, look, we've all lived many lives. For sure, we've probably all been murdered, or we have that energy. We've all gone through the whole lot of it, right? Just not necessarily in this portal.
Yeah, I just find it interesting that I used to make excuses for the others doing horrible things.
Oh.
It's like, oh, so she chopped my head off 8 times in a row, I'll come back.
Oh. So I recently saw this friend of mine, and I didn't have that trust reaction, because obviously I did this clearing on myself when I downloaded it, and I didn't have that resonance anymore. So this is going to be important. This is some yucky stuff in our systems that we really want to get rid of. That's taking up. It's like gunk in the energy body. This is just, we could have light in that space instead of gunk. This is energy of violence. Marcia.
I started to tear up, really had a strong reaction to my body is unsafe. Okay.
Yeah.
Previously.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it's in here.
Aha.
I think it's in here because never felt safe in childhood physically. Ever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, never. And it's got to be in here somewhere.
Yeah.
And I have flashes of memory about running, scarred all over my face with a veil on, and someone helping me running from a fire and people chasing me. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm excited. I'll probably cry, but I'm very excited about this.
I know.
Where's it from?
This is a really important chart. Really important.
Wow.
Okay, so violence. Okay, we're on to enslavement. So starting with this life, are you holding the energy of enslavement as a victim or as a perpetrator? Are you holding the energy of enslavement in the parallels as victim or perpetrator? Are you holding the energy of enslavement in a past life, from a past life? Either as victim, perpetrator, potentially both? And are you holding the energy of enslavement through your ancestral line as either victim or perpetrator? I don't know if you remember, I mentioned this, I think, when we were talking about interference, but when I was clearing enslavement for myself, the pendulum was going all ballistic, all wrong. And I tuned in, and I had enslaved people I had to apologize to all the people I'd enslaved on behalf of myself, my parallels, my past lives, and my ancestors before the interference would clear. And I did the Ho'oponopono, and then the pendulum would go. So it's like, we're not just letting you clear it energetically without actually saying you're sorry. It was really interesting. Okay. He is saying, over the past 6 months, I've been writing more about slavery and about its contribution to building Britain as a nation. It's coming up for me 3 times as victim and once as perpetrator in the parallels. Really interesting. Okay. So if we're finished with enslavement, let's go on to imprisonment. So imprisonment, we begin with this life, seeing as victim and perpetrator imprisonment. So you can be holding the energy in this life, even though you may not have been in prison. Oh, wow. Well, you see, because you're a multidimensional being, you're not an imposter at all. You know the frequency, you've lived it, you see? So really interesting. So imprisonment, are you holding that energy in this life, either victim of imprisonment or perpetrator of imprisonment? Are you holding that energy in your parallels? Imprisonment, prisoner energy, or somebody who imprisons somebody as victim or as perpetrator? Moving on to your past lives, imprisonment as victim or perpetrator. And finally, is there energy of imprisonment that you've taken on, which came to you through your ancestral line, as imprisoned or ancestrally? Sorry, victim or perpetrator, sorry. I was flashing on something about an ancestor of mine, which I'll tell you when we get to the exact one. Okay. The next is torture. So in this life, do you currently hold the energy of torture, either as victim or as perpetrator? So I got real chills, but I've done that chart already. I've done the whole thing, so everything's clear now. But I got chills just as like an echo of like, yeah, you were holding that torture energy, because my whole body rippled. So, okay, so this life, parallels. So in the parallels, are you being tortured in a parallel reality? Or are you a torturer in a parallel reality? So victim or perpetrator. And then past lives. Are you holding the energy of torture? Or, are you carrying the energy of torture currently in your system coming from a past life as a victim of torture or as a perpetrator of torture? And finally, ancestral. Is there any energy currently in your matrix, which is the energy of torture coming from your ancestors, either as victim or perpetrator? Okay, being beaten in this life, victim or perpetrator, do you have that energy?
Sorry, Dominique, could you just hold on because I've got behind on the torture. I'm not quite ready. Just for a
Okay.
second. Thank you.
Where are you?
Well, I haven't done the ancestral past life and
Okay.
I
So-
haven't done the torture past life and ancestral. I mean, they're quick, but I just haven't done them yet. I had to redo another grid because the page wasn't enough. So that
Okay.
took time.
Yes, Go ahead and do that now.
Just 20 seconds, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So torture, ancestral, coming from the ancestors as a victim or as a perpetrator. So if you guys need to make a new grid, go ahead and make a new grid on another page. You good, Angela? Okay. So then we're talking about beatings. Being beaten. So checking out this life. If you're holding the energy of being beaten in this life, either as a victim or as a perpetrator. Then go into the parallels. So being beaten. Are you holding the energy in your matrix and it's coming through to you from the parallels? I.e., is there a parallel version of you that is experiencing beatings or beating? And then we're going to go on to past lives. So as victim of beatings. So this, in past lives, did you experience beatings? Chances are fairly likely. Yeah. And were you a perpetrator of beatings? Quite possible also. And finally, we look at the ancestral line, what we're carrying. Did our ancestors get beaten? And did we take on any of that energy? The energy of being beaten as a victim? Or the energy of beating somebody as a perpetrator? Which is also a really toxic energy. Okay. If you guys are ready, we'll go on to hanging. Being hung. You know, like the way they would hang the blacks in the South and stuff, or hang you in the French Revolution, or all sorts of things. Okay. So in this life, are you carrying the energy of hanging or hanging somebody? In a parallel reality, are you carrying the energy of hanging, being hung or hanging somebody? as either victim or perpetrator. So if you can do those two calibrations. Okay, well, it's good that we're clearing it then. Yeah. Won't be long. We'll be, by the end of the lesson, it'll be clear. But it's good that you notice. In fact, hopefully we have time to, it is deeply disturbing. It is. But those energies are in us, right? So, you know, we want to get that shit out, basically. Yeah. Okay, so hanging, so we're on to past lives, victim or perpetrator. I did say it was going to be a heavy going, but you know what? It's so worth doing it, right? I mean, really, who wants that stuff in your system? Hanging from past lives as victim or perpetrator. What I'm hoping is, okay, great. This is great, Nahila. It's great. Ish, yeah. But you know, we have lived many lives and many parallels. We got a lot of ancestral stuff coming, you know. So we're holding this energy. We want to clear it. I know it's a little hard going, but it's so worth it to clear it. Just hang in there. Let's get through these calibrations because then you'll understand the work. I could just clear it without us calibrating at all. But as alchemists, you need to understand the work and you need to know what's going on in you. You know what I mean? That's how you really understand the work. So, okay. Hanging, we did past lives. Everyone good with past lives? So then finally ancestral. So what I had been flashing on was my grandfather's brother was hung by the Bolsheviks. So I had that energy of being hung, of an ancestor being hung as victim. I can't remember if I had it as perpetrator. No. Exactly. Now, the next one is interesting because of who we are as alchemists and healers. Being burnt, like being burnt at the stake, could well be. So the energy of being burnt. In this life, check out if in this life you were burnt as victim or perpetrator. Basically, my hope is that we get this finished in about 10-15 minutes and we have a bit of time to talk. Because I think it'd be good to kind of talk about it a little bit. So burnt this life, victim or perpetrator. When you've done that, you can go on to in a parallel reality, whether you were burnt. And I guess that could mean different things. People can be burnt with cigarettes as part of abuse, or they could just be burnt in a fire, an accident, or they could be burnt on purpose. And they could be a little burn, or they could be killed in the fire. So there's a whole load of variables there. So burnt in a parallel, victim or perpetrator. When you've done the parallels, you go to past lives to see if you were burnt in a past life. Yes or no? As victim or as perpetrator? Or both? It's just you're holding the energy of, you're just holding that energy. It doesn't mean you were hung in this life. You just still have that energy in your system. I mean, you know, maybe one of your more present layers kind of things. Present time layers. And after you've done past life, we get to ancestral to see if you've got the energy of being burnt coming through your ancestral line as a victim or perpetrator. Yeah, okay, so you're clearing a lot of stuff, Nahila. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It'll clear and you'll feel much lighter after this. Buried alive. Okay. Well, we're going to do drowned first. So drowned. So let's test in this life. Victim of drowning or perpetrator of drowning, or it could be accidental drowning, which victim of drowning is accidental drowning as well. You could have been drowned, or you could have accidentally drowned, but that's still victim of drowning. So you do this life. And when you've done this life, move on to the parallels. So see if there's any victim of drowning or perpetrator of drowning energy. And after the parallels, you can move on to the past life. So were you a victim of drowning in a past life? Or did you drown anybody in a past life? Were you a perpetrator? So just get a yes or no for both of those, or the number if you like. So ancestral is victim perpetrator in our, so ancestral, yes, exactly, Pete, exactly, yeah. Exactly right. Yeah, it should be cleared for good. It should be cleared for good. So, and finally do the ancestral column of drowning. Did any ancestors get drowned, or did they drown anybody? This is probably the heaviest piece that we're going to do. I know this is huge. This is probably the most hard going, but really important. So buried alive, Sylvia. Yeah. This life, are you holding that energy as being victim of buried alive, or as perpetrator, or as both? We're up to buried alive. And once you've done this life, go on to the next column, which is parallels. So within the energy of your parallels, which can bleed through to you, and obviously if this tests up, it means that it has bled through to you. The energy of being buried alive, has it come through from your parallels? Stuff can come through our parallels. Like I remember once when I was about 19, I came back from the bar in Canada at 2 a.m. and I came into my house and I went through this thing that night of like, I think I'm going to be raped. I think I'm going to be raped. I feel the energy of being raped. I was feeling it. I was like living it. Nothing was happening to me. And then I was really paranoid because I knew you create your own reality. So it was like, stop that, stop that. But I could feel this energy of being raped. And I was just like, well, anyway, I think it was happening in a parallel reality. So it didn't happen to me. It didn't happen to me in this life. It didn't happen to me then, but I was in such a panic, like totally, my whole body was in shaking and went on for hours. Ruthlessness and toughness helped me a lot in this life. Okay. Great paranoia for a few years. Yeah. So sometimes we can have certain things that we have and they don't make sense because they don't correlate with our reality, but it's just from the parallels, or it could be from past lives or ancestral stuff. But if it's very visceral, like for me, that was like the whole night I was like listening to every sound and like the whole, yeah. So it's like it was happening in a parallel. And I think I actually knew that at the time because, okay. So if you've done buried alive parallels, then go to past lives. Is there any buried alive energy from your past lives? Victim or perpetrator? So this is the crazy thing. Because we're multidimensional, so often we feel something and we negate our experience because we don't know, it doesn't correlate with our reality. But as we sort of move into the future and the new earth or whatever, we start to kind of become more consciously multidimensional. We will be able to integrate all our feelings and not sort of, I don't know, shame ourselves or negate what we're feeling or think that we're mentally unstable or emotionally unstable for having such heightened emotions and judge ourselves or not honor what we're experiencing because it doesn't correlate with our reality, because we'll be much more in tune with like, okay, this must be happening in a parallel reality. And then this potential, well, obviously very much the potential for us to affect that reality by, well, as alchemists, we could put some safety around the person. We could try to run some interference and try to protect them. We could try to, if it's already happened, we could clear trauma for them in the moment quickly. You know, if our parallel was being raped, we could. So as multidimensional beings, as we evolve more consciously into that awareness of our multidimensionality, there's going to be there'll be a different relationship to life and to our own personal experiences, especially when there bleeds from different levels of ourselves. And then we can interact with those other timelines, other parallels, other aspects. It could be from a past life that you're reliving something from a past life. So it's going to get interesting. Anyway, if have you done the ancestral? Because if we finish buried alive, we'll move to shot, gunshot. Obviously, that happens a lot in wars, and probably most of us have been in wars and been shot, and probably we've shot somebody. So in this life, are you still holding that energy? Did a lot of work some years ago on being burnt alive, the whole Joan of Arc thing. Nothing shows up in past lives. I guess so. Well, if you did a lot of work on it, yeah, definitely. That's great. So shot in this life, is that energy still present in this life as victim or perpetrator? And when you've done that, you can go to the second column of parallels. So did a parallel of yours get shot or shoot somebody? Victim or perpetrator? Okay, Nahila, only when you lived on that street. Wow, really interesting. You had the flashbacks, sort of energetic flashbacks on that street. So, yeah, interesting. Then past lives. Were you shot in a past life or did you shoot somebody in a past life? Yes, could be bow and arrow. Yeah, good point. You could put stabbed in there as well, shot, stabbed. Yeah, spear, harpoon, like any kind of foreign kind of a weapon piercing your body or you piercing the body of somebody. If you've done past lives, you can do the ancestors. Undoubtedly, most of us have ancestors who've been shot, stabbed, harpooned, bow and arrowed, for sure. So victim or perpetrator. Okay, last two. Blown up. Explosion. So most likely war, in war, explosion. Bomb dropping on you. Something like that. So in this life, is the energy really present there as victim or perpetrator? In the parallels, was a parallel version of you blown up as victim or perpetrator? Where are we at? Past life? Past life? So being blown up in a past life as victim or perpetrator? Um, yeah, the movies. Okay, where do I put other universes? In every clearing that I do, when I put multidimensionally, I say we clear multidimensionally through layers, levels, dimensions, timeframes, realities, universes. So I just clear what comes from other universes in every calibration. But you know, you can go down the rabbit hole with these things, and you can really go. Yeah, you could test in other at a cosmic level, galaxies. You can do that, and I think that's why with alchemy you have to work intuitively. So you might have a client, and you just intuit. I don't have this on my chart, but actually, I think this is coming from a universe, another universe. You really have to go with your gut and your intuition, and you really have to trust yourself first time. When you get a little sense of something, you really have to trust it and speak it, and trust yourself. So, okay, so if we've done blown up, we're going to go to our final one, which is suicide. So it's both victim and perpetrator. So there's no two calibrations per thing. So in this life, is there the energy of suicide? And I guess, you know, that could be contemplating suicide, which has a certain level of violence to it, which might stay in your system, or it could be attempted suicide. Obviously, we're all still alive, so we haven't successfully, but the energy can be in your system. So it's just a yes. It's just a yes. There's no, we're not doing suiciding as in Epstein. We're not doing that. You know, being suicided. We're just saying suicide was, you know, in this life, am I holding the energy of suicide? In a parallel reality, was there a suicide? In a past life, have there been suicides? My ancestors, have there been suicides? And these are all energies that are still active. If in a past life you killed yourself and in the next life you cleared all that energy, then it wouldn't come up. So this is what we're calibrating are the energies that are in your multidimensional matrix. This is gunk in your multidimensional matrix. I'm wondering if anybody wants to just comment on anything while Angela catches up on murder. And if anybody else has to catch up on anything, do you have any comments on what you've calibrated? Pete and Scott? Pete or Scott? Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, I found it quite interesting that a lot of the things because I did the numbers rather than just yes or no. And a lot of my this life numbers matched my parallel numbers.
Oh,
So it's like there's a bleed. It's like the bleed is coming through. Everything is like, you know, murder. I know I haven't murdered anyone in this life, you know.
right.
Yet the number for this life and the parallels was the same.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if I'm picking up a lot of the bleed through from the
Was that
parallels.
murdered or murdering?
Both.
Both. Okay, so that's so interesting.
And it's not just for that one either. It was for pretty much all of them.
Okay, so that could tell you that you're getting a lot of bleed through from parallel realities. And then you could do some testing to see, well, well, we know that these are negative bleed throughs, very negative energies bleeding through to you. So, with parallels, you clear the energy, you just ask the teams to clear and remove the energies, and then you put a crystalline boundary around you, and you just intend that that crystalline boundary will prevent bleeds and parallel bleeds. It's like you're there living your reality, your other version of me. That's cool. I don't want your energy coming through to me, and I don't want my energy coming through to you. Okay, Debbie, that's cool. Anybody else have any Pete, you were going to tell us.
Yeah, I mean, just one thing that's just kind of interesting. I mean, it's a kind of little astrological reflection, but I mean, with the new moon that's coming up in like 2 days, we've got what's called a yod, or a finger of God. And the finger of God is basically like a kind of compulsion within the chart. So in the natal chart, the yod, it's like people who say, I don't know why somebody who says like, yeah, I've got to go to the South Pole. I mean, you think like, hang on, why do you need to go? Well, I just need to go. Often the expression of a yod. It's like this kind of inner compulsion. And what's so interesting about what we're doing this evening is that where we're heading, so on the 8th, the yod is with the new moon in Taurus, and it's heading towards the south node, which is our kind of karmic past. And I find that, that sort of, it's like that driven, there's an element of driven, compulsion maybe. I mean, there's a real desire to do that work. And I'd sort of been wondering, because I'd been writing about that today, like what is this kind of yod about the South Node? And it's like taking us back into doing that kind of clearing. So it just feels like there's a very beautiful resonance about what we're doing today and about, what we're moving into. And I would say to everyone, with this new moon in Taurus, we are clearing the energies of the body. We're doing some really, holy work here. I'd say great blessings for this, because it's deep, deep, deep stuff.
Really deep. Really deep. Thanks, Pete. That's interesting that we're in synchronicity with the stars. Yeah. Marcia, were you going to say something?
Yeah. What surprised me but didn't is we went to yes or no. Yes, we calibrated that way. I had very few no's, very few, in either victim or persecutor. Forget it. I'm well-rounded in both, it looks like.
You're an experienced soul. Okay.
Interesting.
Yes, mostly. Okay, well, let's do the clearing. It's a little longer than our usual one. I know you guys kind of know the format of the usual ones. It's not super long, but it's a little bit more involved. So close your eyes. Oops. And I'd like to activate a crystalline matrix around this whole grid, around the whole grid that each one of us has mapped out here tonight, and all the energies and experiences it represents, and anything else that needs to be included. So we call in the teams to clear our whole multidimensional matrices and triple aspects. And to do this multidimensionally through layers, levels, dimensions, timelines, realities, and universes. Please clear all the content of these core traumas, 100%, and send them to 0 point to be repurposed as light. Teams, please recode, heal, repair, and restore back to our original divine blueprint, free from these energies. Repair all damage, remove all adaptive energetics, clear all identities, all views of the world arising from these experiences, all limitations arising from these traumas and their energies and adaptations, and anything else not mentioned but which needs to be done to completely step out of this old reality. Please integrate all the lessons of compassion, empathy, humanity, forgiveness, vulnerability, and anything else we needed to learn from these experiences. Please activate a crystalline field of protection to cocoon our newly cleansed bodies and beings while we adjust to our new reality. Please activate a deep grounding to keep us centered and safe as we release all that we have carried. Please activate this work and anchor it. Thank you, it's done. Okay, so we're not going to test each one of these things individually, but we'll just do one test. So if you can clear your pendulum, clear the board, clear the field, clear the pendulum, make sure your pendulum is testing accurately, and just test if this is all done. If anybody gets that something is not done, we'll probably stay after class and just look into that. Well, the first thing to do would be, is there any interference? And then you would just go row by row by row just to test. You wouldn't go into the details, this life, da, 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 but you would just test row by row by row and figure out which is the one that was a bit sticky. And if we're all clear, I'd like you to test how much this shifts your frequency. Clear, great. All cleared, boom, great. So just calibrate and see how much your frequency has shifted. And this may take a while to integrate. So you might want to test clear, great, 100% clear. So your calibrations is this all done? Hopefully it's a yes. How much is this shifting my frequency? It should raise your frequency quite a lot to not be carrying so much. 80% shift your frequency, great. All clear. Oh yes, and you can test how many days integration. So it means your energy will be running, the clearings may be running over the next 4 days. All core trauma is clear. Let's see, what does this say? And the core clusters too. Oh, boom. There you go, okay? So you see, Sylvia, when she was doing the core clusters, being safe, being safe. Of course she wasn't safe because she was holding this, just like what you said, Marcia. And she was getting no answers for a whole load of them because she was still holding these traumas. And then once these traumas clear, boom, she's all safe. So this is why, you know, with alchemy, okay, Pete, 80 to moving to 100, yeah, can take time. When you're working as an alchemist, when I first started off, things would come up that I didn't have an answer to. I get really nervous, like, oh shit, I don't know, you know, I'd feel it. But actually, don't ever be nervous when you're an alchemist. Just do some inquiry. It's okay. Something you were trying to clear something, it didn't clear. First of all, it's not, you're not doing the clearing. The teams are doing, like the teams and creator are doing the clearing. So you don't have to get the ego involved in that or feel embarrassed in front of the client or whatever. Just go, okay, there's something in the way. It took me a long time to figure out, oh, there's some interference. Okay, it's just interference. Or it might be something else. Maybe something else needs to be cleared before this can clear. So always trust yourself when you're working. Always know that all you need to do is do a little inquiry and you will figure it out. You don't have to have all the answers in your head. You don't have to have all the protocols. You know, you just have to be curious and just keep on asking. Oh, integration time speeding up since last Monday. Great. Yeah, you will always find a way through. It's just inquiry and just trusting yourself and trusting what's going on with the client. You know, when I used to get bad calibrations at first, I'd be like, oh my God, am I testing right? You know, it's like, it was uncomfortable.